Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you today? So, we have arrived till the end of the tunnel, to the end of the shadows. So, 30 days of Scorpio month are closing today. So, 30 days within the darkness of Scorpio and the shadows. But this doesn't mean that this ends here. We will, of course, keep going with the work in our shadows, but next times, I guess, will be from the depth of the darkness and intensity of Scorpio. So I hope that this month was useful for you and that this month has been also helpful to understand your own shadows and the shadows of the world. And also, we have to pay attention to have in mind that the month of Scorpio has been based, a fundament for the next month to come. So today we will close Scorpio with its very specific topic, which is death. There's nothing better for this month than ending it by allowing ourselves to die. And in order to do that, we are gonna try to understand what death. First of all, just a reminder, I don't know if you did it or not, but the task for this whole month was to try to remember and take note of your dreams, because dreams are the the way in which our subconscious is talking to us, and so that's the energy of Scorpio. So to pay attention to the information of our subconscious is to pay attention to our dreams. So remember that the advice I gave you to remember the dreams was to take a lot of water before you go to sleep, so you are able to wake up in the morning or during the night and you will be dreaming in that moment. So that's a good way to remember it. So death, let's go into that. Let's go to the first meaning of why it's necessary, death, why death is necessary. So let's go to the very beginning of all the things to understand this. As we always spoke, the universe is basically vibration. So vibration is like a wave, constant wave. So we have a point up, which is the positive, and a point down, which is the negative. So everything that is going to appear in the universe from energy and then in matter will be just an expression or a distortion of only this movement. So depending on the speed I move through, I will have different frequencies. This movement or this speed will create the different timelines or the different possibilities of this creation. So this movement up is the one that we call the positive in the universe, and going down is the one that we call negative in the universe. So to have the picture of how it is not in 2 dimensions like this, but this movement is done in a spiral going through. Okay, so everything is like a movement of a spiral that in 2 dimensions we see like a wave. So this spiral is going to be created due to the mind creating itself by division and fractalization. So it starts to divide more and more. So the first thing that will be created is the inside of the universe will project into the outside. So the 1 will be reflected into another 1, and both of them will create the 2. So this is how the universe divides itself from 1, 1 towards 2. And there starts the multiplication. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. So that's the auric number, how the spiral is going to be created. 1 being projected in another being is equally 2. 1, 1, 2. To explain a little bit of the auric number. So 1 from the inside projects in the outside as another 1. So creates 2. 1 plus 1, 2. And then this 1 plus 2 is 3. Okay, so this means that the only 1 by this 2, by the polarity, creates the trinity in the 3rd dimension. From the 3rd dimension, there are 5 senses that allows to experience the reality. So these 5 senses are born from the polarity 2 plus the reality in the 3rd dimension. And these senses will be perceived in the cube, which is the 8 directions of time in matter. And these times of the cube, which is 4 above and 4 below, these 8 directions of time in space will absorb and leave its process through the 13 aspects of the self, which are the constellations and the core in the center. And then we have the 21, which is the age where you absorb and connect spirit, soul, and body all together. So, and so on, the numbers starts to be explained in this spiral. So this auric spiral is the one coming from the origin, pushing us to the evolution, to change, to transform, and then from that transformation we come back to the core, to the origin. From the core, the within, the inside, which is the negative, it starts to move up towards the positive to create the spiral. So these spirals moves first into the outside by the positive. So when you used all the strength to move above, so now you start going down, losing the energy, and by the falling down to the negative, you again start to have strength to go up. Because when you go down like this and you go up again, so this movement is like an echo of the first strength that you created from the negative, from the void. And from there you go up again and you go down again, and constantly like that. So the image that we have here is that when you use all the strength to go up at the beginning, this strength starts to be lost in a moment up, and so you start to go down in order to take the strength again to move faster. So when you go down, you take the energies again, so you go up faster than before, and you take the leap into the next level. So we have to picture that this is the natural movement of the universe. Everything moves like that constantly. So this is the natural movement of the whole universe. It doesn't matter where you are. From the point of view of the cosmos, of the spiritual world, what you perceive from this is that everything is vibration, that this movement is vibration. From the point of view of the soul, of the energy, this is a consequence of positive and negative, creating energies. From the point of view of the physical, this is a structure with different stages. When this spiral is very wide and subtle, we call that transformation. So transformation is the changing of the forms, or better said, is the form going through. Okay, that's the transformation. So if I get all this spiral a little bit more closer, what I have is a faster movement of things. So instead of being transformation, I would call it change. And this is change because from positive goes to negative, from positive to negative, positive to negative. And it starts to change constantly. So this movement is the one that we call Kundalini. And when you see it from another perspective, each turn that it does seems like a wheel. So that's why we call it chakras. Chakras, Kundalini. So from this universal point of view, chakras and Kundalini are not different things, are exactly the same. Which means that a chakra is a wheel. So a wheel that is turning like this. But if you turn the image in this way, you don't see anymore a wheel. What you see is a spiral moving ahead, so which is the Kundalini. So if it is very wide open, this spiral, we call it transformation through vibration, different states of vibration. But if I put it shorter, what I have is basically a structure of change, which is the Kundalini with different chakras. That we also call emotions. Okay. So the image would be that if before it was like that, the vibration, then I have the transformation, then I have here the change, and then you push it even more and you get it more straight. What you have is not anymore neither transformation, neither change. You have crisis, you have breakdowns. So this would be like transformation is like a wave, change is like this, and then we have the breakdowns. Okay, this spiral by polarity, it creates two. So in the spiritual world we have two different vibrations in combinating in a spiral. In the energetical world we have two different energies in the soul, and then in the physical one we have two different helix of the DNA, which is the biological one. But this is just the construction of one only reality, which is the spiral, in different contractions or expansions. There is not separation between the physical, the emotional soul, or the spiritual world. They are basically the same spiral, expanded or contracted, yeah, by gravity. And why is this? Because in the universe there is only breathing of consciousness, which is breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. So we have two different ways of seeing this whole reality that we have described here. One is temporal, that we call eternal, and we have the spatial one from the space that we call ether. So both are exactly the same, but one will create the eternal and the other one will create the ether. That creates the two spirals. So these are the two spirals, one going left, the other one going right, that are going to be creating the whole patterns of the reality. So all this explanation is for you to understand that everything is eternal, that the ether, the ethereal reality, the ethereal, is exactly the same as the eternal, but in a different way. So it's a constant all the time. But what happened? As I get closer and much more contract in this energy, this movement of the spiral is stronger and harder. So the change from positive to negative is much more deeper than if it is all wide. So remember that the contraction of all this happens because of we have much more positives and negative, positive and negative, and positive and negative attract each other. So that creates magnetism that push the forces toward one another, and everything goes to the center. Okay, so that's why it starts to contract. So this contraction of the reality, when it contracts more and more and more, creates faster and deeper changes. So the positive and the negative will be lived through the molecular reality that was created by this gravity. Okay, so the molecules will live this change faster than the energy. So this contraction of the molecules makes that all the living beings that are made with atoms, molecules, and chemicals, all the living creatures perceive and live this movement of the universal spiral as life in the positive and death in the negative. So when we live, we are living the positive experience of the vibrational wave, the spiral, and then death is the going down of this spiral. So basically what happened in the reality is that this wave of energy starts to create like this movement softly, and then starts to compress and compress by gravity until it suddenly it's so compressed like that we leave this movement very sharp, like this. Life and death, life and death. But look at this. There is no moment when the paper was cut. The paper was never cut. It's always the same paper in different moments. So this means that life is eternal. We all live forever. So if everything is constant, what makes us live death and life? What makes us perceive death? Well, death is basically the perception of death, or the perception of eternal life depends on your way of vibration and your level of frequency. The people that are more connected with the spirit doesn't see death. They don't see death because they see the whole picture. They see what is happening, the whole path. But the people that is contracted by fear, they see death because they avoid here. They don't know where it goes. Okay? So death is only this curve of the wave. So this explains why we have so many lives, because we have death and one life, death, life, death, life is a constant. And remember, we have two spirals. Remember, we have one related to time and the other one related to space. So now pay attention to this. We had these two spirals. One of them is the eternal, and the eternal will be the spiral related to the soul, to all the history of the soul, of my clan of the soul, all these people that I call soulmates and so on. And there's another one, the ethereal. The ethereal will be related with the physical clan, which is the genetical one. So I have two spirals. I have two spirals that they go combined. One related to the soul and the other one related to the body. So this means two things. One, here, the time one will be related to the history of my soul. The history of my soul. So everything that my soul has lived in different realities and different moments. And the other one, the physical one, is the one related with information of all the lives that I have been being my family tree. For the spiritual mind, there is only two realities projected from one. The polarity that we call time and space, and we also call soul and body. It's exactly the same for the spirit, but from this point of view is basically different. So this means that everything is just one. So everything that I call past lives or other people of my tree of life, they're not different people from me. They're only the consequence. I am the consequence of other people's life, and I am the consequence of other souls' experiences. So if I used to call this death, life, death, life, death, life, death, life, death, I can also call this bad people, good people, bad people, good people. So everything that we used to see like different, they are basically frequencies that are resonating different. So what is death? Death is only the transformation of a pattern in order to take strength to create a new reality, to expand in a new life. What happens if I take complete awareness of all this process? What starts to happen is this. And this is what we call eternal life. Now, we live in the third dimension, so we live compressed by gravity. So, living in a world like this, our goal is not to find eternal life. Our goal here is to experience and to live, to learn as much as possible in the shorter time possible. So the reason why we do this is because we are just the physical experience of a higher being that is eternal and decided to experience itself in different ways. Basically, the reason why the universe does this is because this is boring. You maybe have everything here. You acknowledge everything. But what's this? So this is why in evolution, as much more intelligent we get, we have more bendings in our brain. And also, we have more wrinkles in our skin as we get wiser. That's the allegory of biology. So now remember, what is the goal of biology? The goal of biology is to live as much as possible organized in a specific way. So biology needs to keep alive in the way it found for itself. Imagine that here in this point, you are born. So you are born and you're going up and you grow up. And imagine that all this is half of your life. And now you reach the highest point, which is between 40s and 50s. Okay? I'm talking biologically. So biologically, you reached the highest point. And now you start to go down to death in the other half of life. So what your biology did during its whole process of growth was to reach the highest point and to say, this is the good point. This is what I wanted to reach, the high point. So during all this process of going down, your body will try to remain here in the best moment of its own development. So to die is seen as a defeat for the body. So what happened here is that when your body is pulling up so it can remain here, it's fighting against death because it starts to be afraid from death. It says, I cannot die because my whole goal was to be alive, so I should do everything to stay alive. So culturally, philosophically and biologically, the body starts to fear death. So when you reach the moment of death, you just pull up, like saying, no, I want to go back, I want to go back. So when you die, you project all the things that you wanted to be. So now we go to the fourth dimension, the time. If I am a coherent being, this happens. This is a coherent being. If I am incoherent, this happens. This means that my body and my soul are trying to do different things. So I am not aligned. So now your body starts to die, but your soul says, no, I want to keep going. I want to live. I want to, because I have so many things to do. So this is the incoherence that creates ghosts. Because there's a lot of people outside of the matter that they are still living the same things, even if they are dead. So we have to find coherence. So death is everywhere, and it's one of the most important parts of life. Death is the possibility to take a leap into the spiral. From the physical world, you perceive it as death. From the energetical world, you feel it as a quantum leap. From the spiritual, it's like just singing. This is why we have to acknowledge that life is not that death is not against life. Death is a part of life. Is the part of transformation in life. So this is why all the people that die, they are not really dead. They just transform themselves into the next leap, into the next wave, which is ourselves. It's us who are going to leave the wills, the desires, the dreams of those other people. And this is why when we are not aware of this, what we just do is to inherit patterns. Everyone who has lived in history before are still alive within us, living through us. And we will keep living through the ones that are coming ahead. So this is why my job as an aware being here is to find balance and coherence with the life of all the other ones that created and lived through me in the past, so I can give that coherence to the next ones in the future. So this doesn't matter if you have kids or not. This is all about we are all one. So if someone knows you, that's enough. So this is why today was important to close with the idea of death, because talking about death is not saying we are going to die. Talking about death is to acknowledging that this is a continuous, that this keeps going ahead. And death brings us to the shadows, because in this valley, when the sun rises in the horizon and there is a mountain, there are shadows in the valleys. So when you die, you face all the shadows. So this means that death is the key to your subconscious. That's why we have to face death. So as much more present we bring death in our lives, talking about death, acknowledging about death, we will be much more able to contact the subconscious. And all the things that we have worked this month will be easily to understand. Come to death. Or as we used to say in that time, welcome to life. The path to death. The vibration for today is the statement for today is I am the eternal emptiness. The code for today is conscious transcendence. Then I let myself die. Dying while being alive is acknowledging that I am nothing, that thus nothing exists, and everything that I have done is the whole. This way, I give in, inheriting every feeling, action in every time and space, knowing that it will come back to me one way or another, as I free myself from perception. I am free, and for that I can meet again with the future, transcending the being I am and overcoming it. Yo deseo. I desire. Just a reminder, this is the last day we listen the music for this month. And this music was related to the roots, so it was the vegetal kingdom. And since from tomorrow we start with the animal kingdom, related to the movement. So I hope you would be able to connect with this music the next month, as I do. With this proposal that Guille has brought to us for this next month. Are you ready to die? Take a deep breath and focus only in your breathing. Softly, I begin to massage from the crown towards the feet, each part of the body, becoming aware of them. As I touch the body and caress the body, I remind to it that everything that I am doing is for its greatest good. I take a deep breath, relaxing my body and perceiving around me a big forest. I start to walk through this forest, listening to the birds and the insects. I go deeper into the forest as I see more trees, and it starts to become a rainforest. I feel the fresh air, the shadows. In front of me, I see this huge tree with big roots and long branches, covering the whole sky with its leaves. Allowing only tiny rays of light from the sun coming through, with the appearance of stars in the night sky. La reconozco. Este es el árbol de la vida. I recognize it. This is the tree of life. I get closer to the tree, touching and caressing the trunk and its crust, laying down in between its roots, contemplating the sky. I recognize this tree represents the eternity, represent my desire to create and to live my own creation. Take a deep breath, and I recognize myself as another root in this tree of eternity. I perceive myself becoming this root, being swallowed by the mud around me. My feet and legs, my genitals, hands and arms, my back, chest and belly, neck, and half of my head, letting only my face outside. I find myself under the shadows, pressed by the tree of life. I become aware of the seed that lives within me. I become aware that this seed needs of all the darkness and shadows of this world, all the pressure of this reality, in order to grow. So I set my intention that I desire for this seed to be born. And I become aware that the only way in which this seed is gonna be able to grow and give fruits is only if I let myself die, if I nourish it with all my history, with my whole life, to create this new tree. Take a deep breath. This is now when you feel a scorpion walking in your head, heading to the forehead. And it stings you, putting its poison in your third eye, bringing you now to the depth of the subconscious, the uterus of the creation. Now I let my whole fall down. Take the last breath as you go deep, covering your face with the mud, letting yourself being swallowed by it to the depth of darkness. Take a deep breath, activating the seed that you are. I desire to be reborn, and for that I die. I am the eternal emptiness. I am the eternal emptiness. I am the eternal emptiness.
This is the moment to die. For only dying you will resurrect. The only reason why the shadows and the darkness ask for your souls is to allow you to restore a new one. From the horizons of the west, I come at the dawn and the sunset. I call for your souls to come to the shadows, to let your all die as you reach the new life. Death is not the end. Death is the beginning. Allow yourself to die and reborn again with a new meaning. Give yourself a new name, for your souls are bounded by the strings of vibration of the ancient songs that you have always played. Listen to the song of your name and let that name die. What will be your new song? How will you resound. We have still reminding in the remains of time 8 other cycles to face the dark. Come and walk aside. We shall show you the path. For is your dark night where you shine. We have always asked for your souls, for they are the source of your light. And for us to create new life, we need the souls of those who are not creating. May you become a creator of your own life, and we will teach you how to use your soul instead of taking it. Death is not the end. Death is resurrection. Okay, I am fine. So clearly that was part of the energy of Anubis. It's the first time I feel it in my whole life. So see you tomorrow to begin with the journey to light. So rest, and thank you all for having accompanied me through this path through darkness in the month of Scorpio. See you tomorrow, as always, at the same time. Bye.